Hello and welcome to Warcraft Daily for today, the 14th of May 2013. In today's news we have profession changes, some speculation of the 5.3 release date, and a whole bunch of tweets from the Blues. So to kick off the news we have profession changes. Now, these are actually pretty damn interesting. So, this covers both miners and herbalists. Essentially, I'll take the miner example. If you're a low-level miner, you can now completely mine in Pandaria. This will give you ghost iron nuggets, depending on your skill, and 10 of these nuggets will equal an ore. The same thing goes for herbalists with, like partial herbs or something, giving you a full herb. And this is very interesting because it means, fully in Pandaria you can level. But the thing about this is it takes a whole bunch of old world items out of the market, because traditionally a lot of your copper ore and thorium and all that stuff would come through people leveling their trade skills through the old world. The same goes for herbalism. So this will actually have a very interesting market effect where I think it's now going to be a more valid option to, instead of going and farming, farming some old new ore, I don't know, whatever the hell the new ones are called, ghost iron. Instead of doing that, you could just go back and farm an old world one, and because there's quite a lot of it taken out of the market, that will make it more profitable. So I actually think that's a very interesting change. Now, they've also talked about patch 5.3 and the release date, so they've confirmed that it's soon but not this week. Now, I'm reading this to mean it's going to come out next week, so your next lockout, that'll be Wednesday for the Euros and Tuesday for the Americans. I don't know about anywhere else. But yes, this is quite interesting. 5.3 is going to bring a whole slew of new features. I'll probably do maybe one or two large videos to summarise the changes, because there's quite a lot of system changes, a lot of stuff with PvP, there's Battlefield Barons. All in all, it's pretty good. Now we have a sort of smattering of talk from the Blues. First one's a post they made in the forums about mages. Now in PvP, and I've experienced this myself, mages have got extremely high burst, and a lot of people are putting this down to deep freeze and frozen orb. Now Blizzard actually said this because of Incanter's Wand, and that when it stacks with a whole bunch of other mage things like cross mage mastery and things, it does crazy damage. So apparently what they want to do is change the maximum spell damage increase from this from 30% to 15%, but have the duration increased up to 25 seconds from 15. Now this will do is the mage will still have this period of higher damage, but won't be quite as bursty and ridiculous. So if you were to put this in a graph, it would be not as high a peak, but it'll be a bit longer, smoother. So I think this is probably a good thing. While burst is important, having buttons you can hit, if it's too ridiculous, then I don't really think it accomplishes their design goal. So all in all, I'm pretty happy with that change. I think it's quite good. Now we have tweets. There's been quite a few, so what I've done is I've categorized them into things I think are interesting. I'll probably show all of them on the screen. So first of all, we have raid attunements. They actually think that there might be a good idea to bring these back, at least in some partial way, in that they said that they think they went from one extreme, which was raid attunements, like in BC, to another, which was none at all. So this could be interesting. It could... I don't know, would you say would it force players into older raids, or would it encourage them? I think that's the major design problem. But it could be interesting. Next up, we have the item level gap. Now, this used to be a gap of 13 for 5.0 raids, but for 5.2 it's a gap of 20, the difference in eye level between LFR gear and normal gear. The reason they did this is so they could de-emphasize LFR, and it seems to sort of go with the theme of the next bunch of tweets, in that perhaps LFR was too emphasized in the start. So they've actually said that they're worried that LFR takes emphasis away from core raiding, and the direct quote they said was, historically if your guild broke up you would find another one, now you can just play solo. And I think they're understanding this is actually a bit of a danger to the game, because guilds, they encourage longevity. I wouldn't be able to do every LFR every week for 10 weeks, but I could do 3 raid nights with my guild every week, and that would probably cover the same amount of time. It's just, it's sort of being with people, not being stuck in your own some sort of solo experience. So I think for the game they definitely want to be able to sort of bring the emphasis back to the core raiding, but without alienating the people who enjoy LFR, because there are definitely quite a few. It's just a matter of LFR can't be too much or else it means there's not enough people raiding. And then where's Blizzard's sort of goal to make all these new raids as good as they can? So I think it's definitely important that they fix that issue with LFR. That said, I think LFR can be a good idea, I still don't think they've properly implemented it, or really sort of nailed it in the head. Now there's been some talk on 10-man raiding and things. What they've said is that they agree that 10-mans were too hard in launch. There were nerfs, of course, which we know about, but some of the first times we've just seen an employee just say, yeah, they were too hard. This is definitely true. There was a whole bunch of nerfs specifically to Horadon, to Council, and to Tortos. Tortos, to be honest, I don't think it needed the nerf. The other two definitely did, though. They also said that 10-man is not balanced around having every buff, while 10 heroic is. I suppose some people could take this to mean 10 is supposed to be easier, but when you have 10 people, it's just a logistical thing. Bringing every buff on, like, unless you have a shaman or something, it could get tricky. Of course, in 25, that's not even a concern because your organizational issues are sort of in another spectrum, which is finding that many people. As for 10 heroic, if you're doing heroic, like, you're going to have an ideal raid composition, so it's pretty safe for Blizzard to design around that. And finally, they've said that they would actually prefer a raid that had a few different options and bosses. So like Ultra or ICC, with the current raid it's strictly linear. If you can't get past one boss, you can't go and attempt another. So it seems they would like, if possible, to make them a little bit less linear, and I think that would be very good. Because there's times you just don't feel like killing one boss, you might want to kill another, something like that. And non-linear progression is nice. I suppose for the really hardcore that do their races and things, it's important to have a sort of strict linear progression, so it's like a race, but for the rest of us, which is the vast majority of us, I think the less linear raid would be a good thing. That's it for today's episode. Lots of talk. Those profession things are pretty interesting, especially what I think it'll do to the economy. So you gold makers go. I nearly advise stocking up on some of the low level ores. You'd have to do research first, of course, but something like that could be beneficial. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next show. Bye.